Hey.
You can now turn your volume back up. We apologize for the inability to edit the audio of that thing. It's on me, man. I'm terrible.
I usually just take my headset off.
It's all right. That little jingle will sit in everybody's head for the weekend. It's okay.
Yep, it is.
That's right. It is Friday. I forget it's Friday.
Oh,
I don't even
yeah,
know if that always
Friday.
means something to me.
Friday.
Yeah, it's Friday. I
Do
suppose.
days even exist anymore after being in Europe for 2 weeks and
They don't.
Gurkhan and
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah, I'm surprised you guys are even like, I don't know, alive.
I had to run my leadership team quarterly yesterday.
That's brutal.
The
Your
day
back?
after getting back
Yeah.
from Europe.
That
It
is
was
the worst.
It was brutal.
Wah.
Oh yeah, right.
I mean, I did it. I got through it, but it was pretty brutal.
Tell me how you feel, Robert. Tell me how you really feel, man.
We
Shut up
were
and get your work done. I don't care.
we were making lots of jokes at your expense on the meetup, the ISAL meetup one. So you need to review the transcript on that. There's lots of jokes in Schlegel and Europe references in there.
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know if Europe can handle me.
That's what I was thinking. I said the EU was meeting as soon as you departed.
So
Made some changes.
Ash says, depends. Are you working tomorrow? I am for the
That's a
first
trick
time. I mean,
question.
I'll probably do some stuff, but not a lot. I don't have a full planned day. I'm not traveling or any of that stuff. So thankfully, but I'll probably work on my deck for next week since it's not done yet.
I have a live I'm prepping for.
Yeah. Which live? Oh, wait, mine next week. That's right. I forgot. Yeah. I
Steven
digress.
actually does things.
Yeah. Steven does
Yep.
things. He's 100% true. Oh man. Well, welcome back, everybody. This is our third of the first three we had planned of these live streams. Hopefully you're enjoying and finding value out of them. We've had several people reach out to help. We've had people ask how they can get involved. So we're going to keep doing them. And the first two, we brought on our program director for Framework Maps, Bob Miller, to talk about Framework Maps, which, if you'll recall, is a progress method to try to take frameworks and safeguards and break them down into their components so we can tell what tools do which safeguards, which tools help with which safeguards. The second one we talked about was the hackening, which is getting started under Adam. And Adam is moving us forward with, I believe it is Clemson University, to try to start looking at what does it take for us to get this program launched over the next X period of time. And then the third one, which is the most kinetic right now. It is done, I think, the most good in the one-to-one humans it's served. And Chris, you've been with it since the very beginning with Robert, at least very early as Robert came up with this idea. And you also have the most skill set specifically in this directly, in that you've done incident response for the last for a long
time in incident response years for sure.
Yeah, like dog years times 5 sometimes, unfortunately. So one of the things, why don't you talk about the program, what your role is in it, Chris, and then from there we'll get into the white paper you brought to talk about.
Yeah, sure. So it's MSP 911. As you mentioned, Matt, it was conceived years ago. I think two years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Time flies. Four. Wow, thanks, Robert. So 4 years ago, and it was basically formed in under the organization of CompTIA at the time. And the objective of that was to have a service that was free of charge for service providers who have been the victim of an attack. So the idea wasn't to help their clients who had been attacked, but it was to help the MSPs themselves. And obviously, probably most, if not everybody here, knows the stories, especially Robert and other MSPs that were victimized by cyber attacks and really ransomware attacks, primarily what we see. But it could be any type of cyber attack that either an MSP is directly impacted or the MSP was kind of the mechanism by which the threat actors got through to get to that, which we've called somewhat in the industry the kind of the buffalo jump attacks.
Yeah.
So we started with that, huge support from CompTIA and that leadership team at the time. That's now spun off into GTIA. But we did some cases. We did some work. It was interesting. Some of our cases were when we were all at events together. That seems like when these events happen is when we're all like in the same place.
Yeah.
Just happening. And we're like, oh crap.
Sometimes at night.
Yeah, usually at night, right? But yeah, that's where it was. And we had a good set of volunteers from the MSP community as well as from the vendor community. And so really, long story short is that the thing was so successful that it needed to move a little bit faster. and there needed to be some, basically some more, I'd say, independent. And so at that point, the decision was made mutually, and everybody was fully supportive of this. For there was benefits to both sides to go ahead and spin that off and have that happen on its own. And obviously, the guys here with me today were instrumental in that, and it is now part of the CyberRise system of entities. And yeah, it's a great thing. So its objectives are still there. There is also some ancillary things that we want to do, which is to educate and provide support. Obviously, before MSPs have to go through these types of situations, so they're
Yeah.
prepared. But and also, even when it was with CompTIA, to be a member was not a requirement to use that service, and that's still today.
Right.
I mean, we'll help you regardless of your shape or size.
Yeah, 100%. And if you actually do need help and have a situation, msp911.org has a form that takes very little information, and that's intentional, right, Chris? We're trying to maintain a very small footprint of what you provide in writing to us so that we can be an adequate coach, so that we can help provide information for you that's compartmentalized and protected in that way. And a lot of that comes from legal advice and from Chris's experience in this. Chris, one of the things we talked about is we want to start educating, like you said, so that people can learn beforehand and not make those same mistakes. And one of the ways we're doing that is through writing white papers about experiences we've had, right? And I think we all remember, I think it was case 30 something that came in. It was a Canadian MSP.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and
that
that was also
that was case 17, I think.
17. Okay. And that's probably right, because it came back a year later, and that's when we learned of the
Yeah.
demise of that entity. But that first call was all the wrong things that should not have happened, in my opinion. We restored all the servers. We didn't collect forensic evidence. We didn't, right? But you're here to talk about case 50 today. Do you want to go ahead and present kind of case 50?
Yeah, I can kind of present it at a high level. So the way this one worked, and this is just to kind of kind of stress the importance of the community. It was an MSP who became aware of another MSP that had been attacked.
Yep.
So they reached out to us and said, "Hey, can you help this other MSP?" So in this case, the victim MSP who we ended up helping in case 50 was unaware of that, even the existence of MSP 911.
Correct.
Which is not uncommon, right?
Yeah.
As we get broader, hopefully the majority of people know who we are. But so it was kind of a word of mouth thing, which was awesome.
Yeah.
So we did get involved. We got involved with the situation, and it was a small MSP, and when we're talking small, it's probably about as small as you can get as far as number of employees and ownership and that type of thing. Yeah. And they focus on a specific industry, specifically vertical. We'll just say it's in the healthcare industry, and they had been attacked directly, and as a result, they had been attacked by a ransomware group, and they had gotten into, and we can let Jason and some others get into the technical nature of it because they played a big part in that side of it. But basically, a majority of their clients also got impacted as well.
I want to share a little bit around this because this is a key takeaway, I think. The modality of the way this was done was a tool set that you all have, a remote access tool or a remote access Trojan.
Yeah.
But let's say it's
there's a line between RMM and RAT, I think.
Let's call it though a weird mix. And this is one of the common tool that's out there, self-hosted. And in this case, that tool was compromised. Someone signed into it, and for about 2 days, they established over 600 sessions on 300 some odd machines, manually typing in ransomware and bypassing antivirus manually, which means if I was looking at this from a white paper perspective, you need to have some level of understanding when massive numbers of sessions are happening, when new users are accessing sessions, or something that starts to look at those results of all these antiviruses going offline and all of these having hits and things that didn't get bypassed. So there was an opportunity of 48 hours for this MSP to have had some level of detect and respond, but it didn't happen. The detect and respond happened after ransomware started being called in by clients on a Saturday. So I just want to let that sink in, that there was 2 days of manual hands-on keyboard. This wasn't a hit and spray. This was somebody sitting in their basement clicking on the next session.
And also, this is not something, that the clients would have been able to give you any early indicator of, right? I mean, they're not going to say, hey, my systems are slow or something's popping up on my screen. I mean, none of that stuff was happening at all. I mean, the first indicator that their customers had was when they were down.
That's right.
Yeah, and I mean, this was very manual. I did a lot of the initial tech work, which largely was writing a series of PowerShell scripts to help them try to figure out what was going on here, learning how to use this RMM rat tool because it's not one that's commonly used in our space. So there was a learning curve there. And of that, I mean, I determined there were 124 confirmed ransom machines,
which is of the 300 machines that were touched, right? So like it was just an exhaustion of time. It was just this dude could only do so much.
As it turns out, the license they had of this tool initially didn't allow bulk actions, and I think that probably saved them to a certain extent. So because it was very, as best we could tell, like they logged into all the machines and then they started picking. It looks like they seemed to be picking and choosing what was they were going after, and they were going in an order that I would
things that had data
if I was doing it.
I would test the SQL servers and the Insta servers. I'll also add just another technical takeaway too. There were no domains in this.
No,
there was nothing of any nature of control plane across these machines. No AADJ, no domains. It's just to speak towards the technical maturity of this space. That I don't know if it helped or hurt, but just saying there was zero level of implementing controls across that from a domain specific or GPO or Intune implementation type specific. So they were hosting actual data, actual patient data on these machines. Another finding was there was no backup that was other than a file level backup on said machines, meaning that if you have a machine that has a SQL instance or a flat file database, like I won't say the name of the software because it would give away too much, but if you had something in that type of nature, it's not going to be aware of those systems. And so when the restorations were happening, there was a lot of heartburn that it was occurring because of the inability to get them back to a system state and a function state. So, one of the things I'll give as a takeaway is, and this, is if you're backing up servers and backing up infrastructure, you need to be backing up not just the data, but also system state and aware of application state in those backups. So just another piece.
Yeah, and I think just looking at it, while we were in it, but afterwards is this situation could have been a lot worse.
Yep.
If the operational maturity 100%. Was better. And that's kind of a weird way, right? But the fact that the clients were all very small clients. I don't even know what would be like. Were there 5 or less endpoints? Was there anything bigger than that?
Oh no, there were several that were bigger.
There were some that were 30 or 40 or 50.
Oh, 30 or 40.
Yeah.
But
the most had like, as far as encrypted goes, 15, I think.
Oh, okay.
But let's be clear about that OML thing, right? Because if they were a little better, they would have been a lot worse. But if they were at the level that they should have been, then this could have been arrested right at the beginning.
Well, no, you're right. My point is the fact, and I'm not advocating this, but the fact that things were as disorganized.
Yeah. It actually helped them.
It helped them, yes.
Yeah, from a speed to execution for the threat actor.
By the way, I wanted to add in something else here for everybody, and that is that just when you think it couldn't have gotten worse, because everybody's very focused on the technical aspects of this, and it was horrific what we were witnessing, was the human side of this, because the owner of this MSP had significant health issues, and I won't say what, only because I'm just trying to, be vague about it, but it literally took him out of action. The amount of stress that this caused him put him in the hospital twice.
More than twice,
and may have put him into a life-threatening situation. And that part I am not kidding about. Those it was life-threatening for him. So just when you think like all of the technical things go wrong in every one of these situations, almost in every case that we have seen, and certainly that I've also experienced and have been parts of in other incidents, there's always something else, right? And we all can't necessarily plan for those something else's other than just, it's never going to be just a technical problem that you're overcoming.
Well, and I also want to add, like, Robert, and this goes back to your event, certainly my event, is like we had an emotional stress because this is the first time we had the opportunity to potentially send hands-on keyboard help and send someone to come help with this.
Yep.
But and I'd ask any of you out there in the audience as well, like if you don't have an incident response plan, if you don't have a method that you're going to move forward with that type of a case, and Jason, you said it the best. Like, I can't send bodies into a meat grinder where all they're going to do is show up in front of a client, tell them the same, I can't help you. I don't have backups. I don't know what to do. I don't know what the system restore is going to look like. I don't know if I can't send people into that chaos to die. I just can't. And that was a tough decision to make in this case of what is the minimum standard we require to be able to send help that's more than just coaching and scripting help.
Well, yeah, especially with us, we're dependent upon volunteers, and these volunteers are working people, and either they're making the decision or their boss or whomever is making the decision to free them up to do this. And you're exactly right. I mean, this isn't like we're a response firm that can charge this out or have people on the bench. We don't have that luxury. So we're trying to make the most of our time. Number one is we're trying to find the right type of people to put in here, but we do need them to hit the ground running and be 100% productive the entire time. And when there's a couple of things here too. I mean, this was flying blind for this MSP. That's pretty much an understatement. But the other point to make about this owner was, I mean, he had some serious health issues that were really, I mean, they were the number one problem in this thing, right? We had to be completely aware of everything we did, said, everything like that. And fortunately for him, his spouse was able to step in and take care of this situation in better than he was.
For a few weeks of it, at least for a few weeks.
For a few weeks. Let's just paint the picture that way. But that was by accident. Like, that wasn't planned, that wasn't intentional. And this goes back to, and this is my point around this, is you may be the owner, the CEO or whatever, and you cannot be the single point of failure.
Right.
And they accidentally, this guy's wife who stepped in was able to kind of do a lot of good, but in your roles out there, you can't hope that will happen. You got to plan for that.
That was the interesting thing. She probably had the best head on her shoulders
100%.
out of everybody, right? She had enterprise experience, or at least I think she did.
Yep, she did. No, she did. You're right.
And she was, clear of thought. She obviously lacked all the technical knowledge, and so that made slowing down and translating things for her, part of the process. But she was very capable, and it was, I'll say, one of the saving graces, because otherwise we might have
a breath of fresh air
off, right? We might not have been able to even communicate with them. I mean, I think at one point, Jason, you were dealing with one of their engineers, and
I waited for 3 days. I waited for 3 days for one to get back during a pretty critical moment of it, and it was I'm not complaining, and I don't want to victim shame here. The intention of us anonymizing this is
I think we're painting I think we're painting the picture, and we're trying to give people the examples. I mean, and I was I'll be honest with you too on that staff. I mean, I was in the back of my brain, because we've been involved in a number of these. And the staff stuck with it. I could easily see some people,
dude, they were downtrodden and they were still plugging at it.
They were plugging away.
There was only two
of them, a lot of credit
or three of them, I think it was.
I think there were two of them, and then they ended up bringing in a third one, consultant.
I will say there was a unexpected finding here too, and maybe Robert, if you want to say your point, I can pause.
Well, I was going to say the point of this, just like you said, it's not about victim shaming. It's about bringing these things, like having an honest conversation about it, right? And looking in the mirror. And if I'm an MSP, I mean, I am an MSP out there, but if I'm a smaller MSP out there, maybe with less resources, you got to be thinking about these things. Like Chris says, you can't be the single point of failure. I know that we're, all of us MSP owners and founders are all Supermen, right? Like, but you may not be Superman in that day, or you might be stuck on a cruise ship when this happens, right?
Yeah.
You need to be thinking through, dare I say even the word tabletop here, but thinking through, like, what are my contingency plans if I'm unavailable?
And not just thinking through it, documenting it, right? That's the whole IR plan piece. And you should have, for every position in there, you should have an alternate who actually understands and knows what should be happening.
I mean, but the problem here is that this was, I it's hard to even call it an MSP. As best I can tell, this was essentially a break fix shop that just happened to have persistence on some amount of them for repeated break fix. As best as I can tell in the conversations we had, the only
there was no
recurring revenue,
MSA, no BAA.
the only recurring revenue he had was selling them a couple of tools, and one of which was the AV agent, which is one that I think the industry generally doesn't like.
Yeah, but we won't mention, but it didn't do the job.
Oh no.
Well, and and just, I mean, of course, it's probably falling on, this is like broken record stuff, but a lot of, obviously, he built his customer base upon his personal network, right? He had, they were a lot of his friends and that type of stuff, and that goes both ways.
It does, especially in that health problem we were talking about, right?
Exactly.
Now you have this stress of people you love that are telling you they hate you. Ask me how I know.
You got to be thinking about these things, and you're right. I think Steven's right. I mean, the IR planning for MSPs, and I've reviewed them. A lot of MSPs have come to me for review and advice on those, and still today, I still see a lot of them that are just technical. They don't talk about the people side of things,
right.
and we know Eric Woodard, and he went through the same thing years ago, and I'll use him as a perfect example. I mean, his kind of right-hand person, Denise, is the one that she's not technical, especially at that time, but she's the one, kind of like in this situation, that kind of kept the ship steered the right direction. If there was emotions that went one way or another, she was the steady person in that deal. So Steven's right. When you're talking about roles, especially in IR stuff, you're going to look at other skill sets other than just what they do in an everyday work, because it could be a finance person that kind of steps up in more the coordinator role, because that's just their mentality, their emotional IQ, whatever you want to call it, is very well suited for those situations.
Yep.
And a lot of larger majority of the incident response is not technical. It's all the other stuff you have to deal with.
The comms, the emotions, the down, the management of expectations.
We find a lot of people playing the game are not technical, not to dive into the game itself, but it's the non-technical folks that actually step in and start driving the conversation and helping to drive decisions.
Yep.
So to Chris's point, that's a strong way to
Well,
build.
you also want that, because you don't want technical people focused on the non-technical things. Let them focus on the thing that they're good at, right?
I want to bring this back to case 50 findings too, though. Let's continue back down that path. We covered the backup aspect. One of the things that also stood out, other than the incident response plan, was the lack of offboarding. One of the things that was more terrifying to me was the number of people that were not considered customers any longer, that still had tools, that still got ransomed. And so for MSPs that are out there, I think another conversation is like, you absolutely have to have a clear and well-defined offboarding and a clear and well-defined test of validity of your offboarding efficacy. Like, did I remove these agents, or is there still one popping up? And those can be dumb things, like you forgot that you had set up an auto install for the tool inside their AD with a GPO for this one case, and now it reinstalled. And in this case, I think there were like 6 companies that were literally, not only did they have no MSA, not only did they have no BAA, but they also had no existing relationship in which they were paying money that could even be argued towards some legal protections, right? So like, offboard your tools. Don't let threat actors.
Sometimes that makes customers cranky. We've got one that came back. Our policy is we hold documentation for 90 days after offboard, and then we purge it with fire, and it's gone forever. And we definitely just had one come back 180 days later, all mad that they didn't save the passwords we sent them, so they don't have them anymore.
Yep.
I would point out the flip side is true when you're onboarding as an MSP. You have to make sure the outgoing stuff is gone.
Oh yeah,
that might be part of my boot camp coming up.
That's even worse. Oh, that's so terrible.
Jason.
It's a thing. Like we get, like the number. We just had one. We offboarded a client, over a year ago now, and we just had the MSP that picked them up, which to my knowledge has been with them. They've been with them for close to a year now. Come back to us because they couldn't get Sentinel-1 uninstalled on their domain controller. Well, that's been gone out of our Sentinel-1 console for literally a year. So this thing hasn't had AV updates in a year. It's a domain controller.
Yeah, not good. Back to case 52. Any other findings we've missed, gentlemen? Like during that event, it was definitely a lack of resources. Oh, that's what I wanted to cover earlier. I did not expect this, and this is maybe something I call out to the community and ask your thoughts on this. When we made our legal agreement to allow other MSPs to help these MSPs, one of the real strict requirements we put in was a non-solicit and a non-compete against that other MSP for X period of time if they help with those clients, right? Which is really just to say, don't let a fox in the hen house, right? If I'm going to ask him to help, don't come in the disguise of destroying my business later by taking these clients. This is the first time that we watched MSPs, a couple of them, make the decision not to sign it because they believed more in taking the clients later. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm torn. So maybe let's go around the room on this and just chat about it.
I signed it and I serviced the area this was in.
Yeah. Go.
I mean, it's a volunteer type. I want to help is the mentality that we're after. So if that's not your goal, then don't sign up.
Yeah. And if
that's what we found.
If that's what you feel, then just like this is, our little community that we're building here is not the place for you. Please don't volunteer. Please, please don't even think about it, because that's not what we're about. We need to protect the integrity of exactly what you started with, Matt, to ensure that those that need the help aren't going to feel like they're going to get abused now in a different way. Like, gee, you helped me get the threat actor away, right?
Yep.
But now there's a different threat actor at my door.
Right.
Well, and and it's important. I mean, like in this, just said it's in his serviceable area. This is in a metropolitan area in the U.S. And the more local people that we have, it helps us, right? Because we can get people there. But if you have that area, it's kind of interesting. I think this is the first time we've really had that happen. Like in the past, we've never had that happen.
Yeah, so. It felt weird, aberration-ish. Like it didn't feel like we haven't hit that before. Most people who like step up or that we talk to or step up to the plate are totally altruistic about this and only looking to help and don't, listen. You know what? I'm just going to leave it there. I have more to say, but
my point is maybe for those listening, this is a trolley problem for you to chew on, right? Like, are you the type of person that wants to help? If so, like, let us know you want to be a volunteer. Let us know that you're interested, what MSA you're in. We're going to collect that at some point to have some like ready to go people that are ready to volunteer. Chris, we haven't talked about that, but I think that's a smart idea of building up that bevy of, hey, I'm in Miami and I can help with these things. And I'm more than willing to sign a non-disclosure and a non-compete agreement with this MSP for a year against their clients, right? So that I'm not taking the ones I help service. Yeah, but would you sign that? That's the question. I think that's a good question for the altruism in your heart of this help.
It's more complicated than that, right? Like there is a thing to be said for companies of an operational maturity tend to gravitate and find companies of a similar operational maturity. And, part of the thing that goes with that, I don't think I would have taken on any of those clients. Like, obviously they don't take technology seriously. Right now, when they've had an incident, they might be willing to spend money, but like that doesn't last. Right. Like, so, the reality of it is they're not clients that I even necessarily would have wanted.
They weren't your ICP.
Not that factored into my decision at all. But
I don't think it factored in these other guys because I don't even think they looked at it. I think if they would have looked at it, they would have probably come to the same conclusion unless they're just willing to take anything.
But there have been other cases where, people they actually had, better clients, let's say.
Yeah. And if you look at this too, I mean, you could, I guess I'm not trying to play the devil's advocate here, but you say, well, I mean, these MSP's clients, they would be better hands if I was their MSP. Well, we need you not to think that way. I mean, the reality is it's their clients. What happens afterwards happens. There's plenty of other MSPs out there. If this particular MSP's clients wants to leave this MSP and go find somebody else, it's just not your part. It's just not your part to go after them, and that's what we are. And it was, again, to me, is a little bit of a shock, just because we hadn't seen this before. And the people that we interact with in our lives, our daily lives, don't seem to be that way either. So, and we're not really pooping on these MSPs that didn't want to sign the agreement. It is what it is, but it was a little bit of a shock.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing, Matt, I didn't want to forget too when we're talking about this, is kind of from a white paper perspective, is the insurance aspect of this.
Yeah.
So in this particular case, the provider thought that he had insurance to cover this. And then when I think he talked to his broker, found out that he didn't have it.
That's correct.
And then somewhat, didn't name anybody, but was frustrated and kind of tried to throw the broker under the bus. And me coming from the insurance side of things, I'm like, there's probably two sides of that story. And to be honest with you, it's your fault. I mean, you better know that. I mean,
you're the one holding the risk.
You're the one.
You must make sure that you have transferred it appropriately.
And I don't know if we want to prioritize which liability insurances you need to have, but that one probably needs to be at the top of the list.
I know we're almost at the end of this 30 minutes, but I'll add this real quick as well. They had no insurance. They had no E&O. They had hired one of the more expensive incident response firms and really quickly exhausted the funds they had for that. They had very quickly exhausted the funds for an attorney. The attorney gave them advice of essentially don't deal with the cases. Like just don't. It's their responsibility. You have no legal. I mean, I just want to talk about the complexities of this, and you should definitely have insurance if you are an MSP today, including including cyber coverage, including social engineering, including all the things that you can. I just think that's one of the most unconscionable aspects of this, and it made it very hard to decide how to help.
And a shout out to the law firm. They did step up and they worked the case pro bono because of the situation, and they didn't have to do that. So
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Sponsors. Okay. Got a screen you can throw up?
Yeah. Just wanted to. It's going to be audio again, but I do want to say. Actually, I'm just going to add it real quick. Y'all can watch me make the sausage. I don't care. I don't care. Shut up. It's a terrible prep, y'all. I got a day job, mate. I got a day job. I want to say thank you to our Patreon members as well first. So I just want to say JK, Ashley C, Bob.
We're not seeing it, by the way.
What?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Yes, you are. You should be. Anyways, they'll be there. JK, Ashley C, Bob M, James, William B, Michael R, Josh H, Don H. I hope I can't read them at some point. They're so long. Zach B, Henry T, Jack S, Evgeny K, David C, and Dustin B. Thank you for being part of the sticker club. If you weren't part of the stream we just did, our stickers are here. They are coming out. You can catch that in your Patreon chat that you have access to.
I'm sure Jackass appreciates us saying Jackass like that.
Jackass. Jackass. You know what I mean? Jackass. He knows who he is. Yeah. Let me change the media real quick, and I'm going to replace this with one more picture just to say thank you to our donors that are corporate donors. We have Exigence, who provides the platform that we use for our MSP 911 cases when we take them. That's how we know this is case number 50. Bradley Gross, who does our legal work, who just filed some of our DBAs for us and donated the cash as well as his time pro bono. Stretty for allowing us to use their platform in a discounted fashion. GTIA for funding and the initial setup of this charity. And Threat Captain for helping us fund our insurance for the year of 2025. We are looking for that same type of donor again for next year for insurance. We also have written a few grants for GTIA and other things, but they support programs like what Chris just talked about from a Case 50 perspective. So yeah, that is it. I think Jason had to drop because we're at the hour and everybody has back-to-back. So thank y'all for hanging on. Chris, thanks for debriefing and thank you for running the program. And Stephen, thank you for running the overall charity. Appreciate everybody. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Thanks all.
Thank you. Bye.